Hello. We're back in the room. It's coffee time. I haven't actually looked at the news today yet because, it's going to be politics, I'm afraid, because I don't know if you're paying attention. In the UK, our fluffy-haired leader, his government is imploding. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Overnight, all goes back again. I have to rewind to the Chris Pincher scandal. He's a guy who, has been accused of sexually assaulting men, and apparently he was warned. Old Boris was warned about this fellow, even by dear Mrs. Boris, warned him about this guy's behaviour. And it's funny because everything else that's happened, even though the Partygate nonsense, which I just thought was a bit of a smokescreen. This has come along. We had, you've got the PPE scandal. You could talk about that. There are many things that we could pillory Johnson's government for. The whole Rwanda. Again, I even saying immigration thing. There are many things that we can pillory this Conservative government for. There have been some interesting things that they've done. The whole furlough scheme again. They've had some socialist policies in there as well. But it's come down to this. This is, like I say, this is Pincher's terrible behaviour. And again, the thing about Boris is I don't think he takes anything he does particularly seriously. He breezes in, does his routine, and breezes out again. And this is... it's always going to result in something like this because he lets... Look at Dominic Cummings for crying out loud. Look at someone like that, a complete chaotic who you wouldn't let anywhere near near power, but they did. And again, it's the same with this Pincher character. And so he's again. When I came on, 15 ministers had resigned, and letters of no confidence have been registered again. And some say, by the end of the week Boris might be out. He might be. He might crack. I don't know. But the thing about Johnson, he's an obstinate character. He's very bullish in his attitude. Again, he has an unblinking self-belief which is quite astounding. It's bred into him. That's what going to these big establishments, being part of the Bullingdon Club and all that, they were bred for leadership, and so they have an unwavering self-belief. So I've always said that they'd drag him out by his ankles if they were going to drag him out at all. But you never know, it might collapse. I might be wrong on this. It all depends, because he's got Carrie in his ear, and she might say, "Dearie, it's time to go." But we don't know. I can see him slogging on. The whole cabinet could end up quitting at this stage of the game. Such is their dismay at his behaviour. But what did you expect? This is Boris Johnson. This was to be expected. They threw Theresa May under the bus, the safe bet, for him. This is what happens. You went for the safe bet for him. It was never going to end out well. It was never going to turn out very well for anyone. Again, I'm not a conservative. I'm kind of politically adrift at the moment. Until the Labour Party can decide what a woman is, where are we going? So it's going to be interesting to see what the Tories do. This is probably again, I find it fascinating. It's like a slow motion car crash. It's quite fascinating. But what are my predictions? If Boris is smart and he realises that everyone's turning against him, he'll do the one thing that they're least expected, the one thing that they're totally unprepared for, and that's call an election. Because then all those people who are against him have suddenly got to go behind, get behind the Conservative flag. It auto-magically makes them fall into line. Call an election because they want the party to win. And again, if he wins the election, he's got a mandate to lead. And if he doesn't, then we have a change, and everyone gets something different, and we can moan about the new guy. But yeah, if I was Boris, I'd be saying, I'm calling an election, just to see what happens next. Poor old Boris. He didn't know what he was doing. He's Boris Johnson. But yeah, everyone's quitting left, right, and centre. Yeah, again, I don't. I'm gonna have to quickly scan the Daily Mail website because I haven't been on there. I haven't been on there yet because I've been too busy watching the Conservatives implode. Yeah, it's not a lot going on here. This is an update to the story of Tony Garnett, which is, again, it's a strange story. Tony Garnett came to prominence when he took in a Ukrainian refugee, Sofia Karkadim, and then, well, a few weeks later, he decided to leave his wife and family to set up at home with his new. Here they are. This is him with his refugee. Again, he took making refugees comfortable to a whole new level, didn't he? So yeah, what we've got here is now he's revealed that he's had to quit work because he's had to become her carer because she's gone partially blind. It's like, well, I'm partially blind. Well, you know, there are blind people out there that don't have carers. You know, I mean, it's a very strange story, isn't it? Again, is he trying to get sympathy? Again, I'm sure Mrs. Karkadim, I don't know what health issues she has. It seems again a very twisty story, isn't it? She's she contracted an eye infection en route to the UK and has had to undergo surgery. What, NHS surgery? How did she jump the queue? Do you know, I can't even get a doctor's appointment these days without, you know, giving a stool sample. But yeah, it's a very murky, very strange story, that one. But hey, you know, wow, this story is almost like something from a romantic movie, yeah, from the Curtis School of Romantic Movies. This is a story of Maurizio Calorio. He had a heart attack in June and was on life support. He was basically dying, and here's his picture. Here he is with his wife, because he married her on what he thought was going to be his deathbed. They got married, and it's a great story. You think, oh, isn't that lovely? You know, love triumphs over everything. But then there's a great twist to this, because he married his long-term partner Sylvia Duca while he could, yeah, because he thought, you know, his time was running out, and yeah, since then he's not only did he give her his heart, he's getting a new heart. Yeah, he got a donated heart and undergone a heart transplant. You know, which is really cool. They were gonna get married, but because of the COVID pandemic, they couldn't. And but now, the ideal wedding gift, a new heart. So there, it's not all misery and woe. We've got some. That's a nice. I thought it was a nice story. It's one for all the old romantics out there, you know. Meanwhile, Build-A-Bear. You know the Build-A-Bear group. You know, the stuffed toys that are secretly controlling the world. Build-A-Bear Workshop has lost a legal battle, 3-year legal battle. How so, Darren? What have they been up to? What has the Build-A-Bear group? I'm playing on Bilderberg. You heard of Bilderberg? You know, the Illuminati, Build-A-Bear. I see. I'm too good for you people. I'm too good for you. But anyway, they've lost a 3-year legal battle with the HMRC, and have incurred a £600,000 tax bill because they were trying to say that they import the clothes, shoes, and wigs. Yeah, teddy bears wear wigs. Can't he just go au naturel like me? Who'd have thought a bear would wear a wig? But anyway, they ruled that the accessories are designed for stuffed toys, not humanoid dolls. Because there's a rule: if it's a humanoid doll, it doesn't incur tax. But look, I don't know. It seems it all seems crazy that a bear should wear a wig in the first place. They got fur on their heads. Why would a bear wear a wig? But yeah, so the HMRC are demanding customs duty that dating back to 2012 because there's this rule that means that they have to charge, I guess it's VAT or it's customs duty, sorry, on any kind of accessories that the bears wear. Okay, and have we got a bear with a wig? Yes, we do. Here is a bear wearing a wig. I think the world's gone mad. Bear doesn't need to wear a wig. It's a bear. Trying to find some good stories. Oh dear. Meanwhile, circling back to Boris, a snap poll reveals the majority of Conservative voters think that Boris Johnson should resign. Mind you, this is YouGov. A YouGov poll of 3,000 people. 54% want to see him resign. I mean, YouGov, don't they? Isn't it renamed? Any result you want, Gov, because their authenticity you need to question. I think I'm part of a YouGov thing. I get surveys occasionally. What's your favourite brand of ketchup? That kind of thing. But well, everybody wants rid of Boris. Poor old Boris. This is a sad story from the July 4th attack in Highland Park. Are we calling it the Highland Park shooting? I guess we are. But yeah, a little boy, a 2-year-old boy, was found in the crowd, bloodied and alone. And luckily some people got him and looked after him. But unfortunately, now the dust has settled and they've figured out what's going on, it seems he's been orphaned. He's Aidan McCarthy, this little boy who's 2 years old. His mother Irina and father Kevin were separated by him because everyone fled, and they were both shot by that fucking rat-faced bastard. And here's a little picture of him, the poor little soul. It's just such a wicked world we live in. I wish there was a hell and we could send this freak to hell. There he is. But again, the internet does what the internet does, and a GoFundMe page was set up. And again, how long's it been? It's not even been, I don't think it's even been 24 hours. They've raised nearly $2 million for the poor little soul. Again, it won't bring his mum and dad back, but it's just the internet doing what the internet can do. And there's his mum and dad. And what utter wickedness there is in the world, just because some freak can't get laid. Seriously. Oh boy. It's a terrible, terrible world we live in. And that is the midday clock. Yeah, it turns out that the father of the shooter helped his son buy firearms 2 months after the cops took away his collection of knives. And he escaped dressed as a woman. Of course he did. My goodness. It's a shocking, shocking world we live in, isn't it? It's a shocking world. There was this other story that came out this morning. I've just got to pull it up. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves as my computer slowly creaks into life. I mean, I'm not doing much, just streaming. But encoder overloaded. Yeah, this is a strange one. There's a new trend, and again, I can only say that this must be like TikTok. You know, you're familiar with TikTok, aren't you? And TikTok trends. There've been many of them, like the Holocaust one, where they made themselves up like Holocaust victims, and I'm hungry, and the domestic violence ones where the kids, made them up like they've been beaten, put makeup on. You have these trends. Well, this is now leaked into the real world, and I don't know if this is real or not, but it's a TikTok trend. Well, it would be, because TikTok is the sound of their brain cells rattling together inside their heads. Well, there's this new trend where healthcare professionals illustrate their reactions to losing patients. I shit you not. Look, here we go. There's one guy. Look at him. He's doing the thing. Look, patients have died, and he's took the time to set up his camera and film himself and post it on TikTok, because that's a thing, isn't it? That's what you do. And there's a whole gallery of these arseholes, because that's all we can call them. Look, here's one. She's lost a patient too. And here he is again. And there's another one, crying after she lost her first patient. I sat and held their hand while they took their last breath. Yeah, have some dignity. Have some dignity in what you do. And these people, again, this is what happens when the internet seeps into real life. A true professional, would make videos about this, and they'd talk about their experiences, but they wouldn't necessarily package it up as TikTok entertainment. How fucking sad are you? I mean, the younger generations that have come in have no filter, they have no self-awareness. A bad take is like their default setting, and I can't wait. I wish I lived to 120, because I want to see the generation underneath that generation absolutely kick the living daylights out of them, because it's going to happen, because the younger generation always rebels against the ones before. It's crazy. It's a crazy, 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 crazy world we live in, that it seems that people think this is some sort of entertainment. Anyway, let's do some funnies, eh? Let's lighten the mood somewhat. Now, do you remember yesterday we was talking about the price of butter? Do you remember that? And how, well, it turns out that if you want to buy a kilo of Lurpak, you're looking at nearly a tenner. Mind you, who wants a kilo of Lurpak? Marlon Brando. Now, there's a reference for you, isn't it? There's a reference. But anyway, we're going back to TikTok again. This is Joe Rourke from Manchester. She noticed that again. She noticed the price of butter, and she thought, you know what, I can do better than this. She bought a tub of whipping cream that was on offer at a local Tesco. It'd been reduced to 36p down to 120. Let's show you a picture. Here you go. This is a picture of Joe Rourke. There she is. And she decided to buy this reduced pot of whipping cream, and she's made this TikTok video where, again, you do wonder about people's sensibilities. She shows you how to turn whipping cream into butter, but it involves an awful lot of shaking. Look, a lot of shaking, and you've got to separate your curds and your whey. Oh no, I'm making cheese. But yeah, and so she shows you how to make butter. There you go, 36p and a lot a lot of shaking. Next week, how to make candy floss in your washing machine. So that's a thing. So we'll finish with another story. This is one that I cannot believe. We're going down to Cornwall, you grockles, and this is the story of a Cornish country estate where the local beekeeper discovered that 5 hives were stolen from a Tresillian house. It was an audacious heist. You could say it had a sting in its tail, because this story does have a sting in its tail. And they saw that the culprits, had driven a van in because there was tyre tracks away, and they believed that the hives were being stored locally. Because probably another beekeeper, a rival beekeeper. Can you imagine that? Jealous beekeepers. But yeah, assistant beekeeper Catherine Barnes said the bees were being put into a new hive. She said that the bees were stolen, but like I said, it was a sting in the tail because they must have been kept locally. How so? Well, here's some pictures of some bees, just in case you don't know what a bee looks like. They must have been kept locally because she said, right, they're nearby because most of them have flown back. They've returned like homing bees, and they've returned back. But I reckon there was about 80,000 bees involved, and 5 hives. It would have required a large vehicle and expertise because you'd need to be a beekeeper to steal these bees. But yeah, they've returned and they've got new hives set up for them, and it's like stealing homing pigeons, I guess. But yeah, could you believe it? No, but that's good news. So they didn't win that one. The bees came home. Yeah. Anyway, should we have a look at anyone if there's anyone in the chat room? That's been today's coffee time, ain't it just? The birds are singing. Let's have a butchers in the chat room. DK is in and he says moin, whatever that means. And Naz says, hey mate, hey Naz. Formula Car says, if he stays, the Tories will lose the next election. Boris wants to go down with the ship, it seems. Well, I'm going, that's if he calls it. Will he lose? I don't know. It's again, opinion polls can be strange things because people say one thing, especially during the midterm of a government, and then they can swing back again. Again, it all depends on how the population's feeling. They could be exhausted by all of this. I don't know. I think whoever's in, I think we're in for a shit show. I don't think any of our politicos at the moment are in any good state to lead this country. I think Keir Starmer is pretty, he is a man with no ideas. Or if he has any ideas, I'm not going to tell you. So again, I'm not conservative by any stretch of the imagination. But, it's just, it was always going to happen. You got rid of Theresa May. Again, somebody I've never liked, but I thought at the time she was the safe bet after Cameron, threw his toys out the pram. I thought she was the safe, stable bet, and they got rid of her. They treated her terribly. And we got this buffoon instead. I did predict back in March 2016 the Johnson-Trump future, and it came to pass. But I don't know, again, if he's if he's as crazy as I like to think he is, I'd like him to call a snap election. Because even if they get a new leader in, are they all gonna fall into line? I don't know. It seems to be a strange time for the Conservatives, but they do this. I mean, they did it with Thatcher. It always surprised me when they turned her quick smart and they got her out. So again, the Tories, when they get bored of someone, they're not like the Labour Party who'll just hang on and hang on and hang on. They will deal with the problem quickly. And I think he might have used up his 9 lives. But yeah, the whole Pincher thing is murky, but then, all our politicos are murky, left, right and centre. They all need to do this for free. If they did it as a vocational exercise, we'd get rid of all the power-hungry perverts, wouldn't we? But we don't. But we'll have to wait and see, eh? See what happens. Rene says, hey, Darren. Hi. Harry's Music Museum says, hiya, Harry. Alex says, I love just joining. The first thing I heard was the bees came home. Yeah, that's the punchline. Oh, and Harry's donated £1.79. That's very good. Thank you. You don't have to do that, but it's gratefully received. If only it was 179. See, I'm terrible. This is why they hate me. But I think, do you follow on Twitter? I think you do. I think you follow Harry. I think follows me on Twitter, and that's where I post all the nude pics on Twitter. Remember that. Alex says, "Come back, Teresa. All is forgiven." Exactly. Again, I'm not her greatest fan, but she was strong and steady. You know what I mean? And again, she only won because she was the last woman standing, because the other one resigned. Was it Ledson? Resigned. Gave up the leadership battle, and I thought, well, I thought she did. Was doing a damn fine job of it. Again, it makes me sound like I'm a Tory. I'm not, but considering the hand she was dealt, especially Cameron being such a weak, again, shows you what an utter weak leader he was by resigning as soon as, the result didn't go the way he wanted. Again, he wanted to do a triple. He wanted to go for the hat trick and get 3 referendums. There was the first past the post referendum, which he won. There was the Scottish independence referendum, and he thought he was going to win the EU. And I thought he was. I mean, I voted to leave, but I had no idea it was actually going to fall our way, because all the opinion polls and everyone saying, "Oh, we're in the EU forever and ever." And again, I'd have accepted. I'm not a great, I'm not a Brexiteer. I'm of the belief that in 1992, John Major should have taken that question to the public. We never got true democracy. We were taken into that version of the EU falsely, I believe. I think we should have had a referendum back then, and then it would have been settled. And if we'd have voted for it, it would have been settled, and then the likes of Nigel Farage, wouldn't have, done the damage that he did. Again, another opportunist, but also you have to look at him. He's the most successful politico of the 21st century. That shows you the level of politics we're at. What Cameron did, was very weak, and so she had a pretty hard job to take up. Any of them did. And then you had the whole Gove Johnson shenanigans too. Again, they gave her a hard time, and I don't think they've given Johnson a hard enough time, to be honest. But what did you expect? He's Boris Johnson. Didn't anyone notice what he used to do when he was mayor of London? Well, don't get me started on Mayor Khan. He's extending the ULEZ out almost to us. From next year, from October 2023, if we want to, I don't know, drive to Bluewater in Kent, we're going to have to somehow go miles out of our way past the ULEZ, because that will cost us £12.50. Again, if we drive our usual route to Bluewater, which is a shopping centre, and sometimes we take the kids there, it's going to cost us nearly 20 quid, ULEZ and getting across the Dartford Bridge. It's going to cost us 20 quid before we've even got anywhere. and they wonder why everyone's complaining about the cost of living. It's just, we're being taken for mugs. We are being taken for mugs because Khan ran London into the ground. He spent all the money again and again and again. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent then. All these politicos just drive me nuts. We need a revolution. You need to make me your glorious leader. There you go. Where was I? Sorry, I went off on a tangent then. Alex says, this is how anarchy happens, not via people, but the ineptitude of the government. Exactly. If you're not in control, then you allow bad people to do bad things. And this is the thing about it. This is why you go, oh, I miss Mrs. Thatcher, because she had control. She had a vice-like grip on her guys, and if anyone stepped out of line, they were out. Whereas Boris just kind of, he's a freewheeler. He bounds into the room like a randy Labrador, and then bounds out again, and that's how he wants it to be. He's there for the meet and greet. He's there for the shaking of the hands and the pressing of the flesh and the image. That's what Boris is, you know. He wanted to be, you know, another Churchill type character. That's why he goes to Ukraine and shakes the flesh there. He wants to do the world stuff. He doesn't want to do the nuts and bolts, you know, managing people and saying, well, that guy needs to go, and he says, and that's why we're in the position we're in. You've got to be committed, and you've got to set up a good team of good people, and Boris can't do that. He can't. It's not in his nature. He's too preoccupied by all his children, his ex-wives, his ex-mistresses. You know, he's too preoccupied, and that's why we're at. That's where we're at. But you're right, it's a sort of an anarchy within government. And Cummings was another one that was advocating for that. He wanted to destroy everything, and I kind of agreed with him, because a lot of the civil servants and a lot of those structures within Downing Street needed to be, well, destroyed, because they've become kind of stuck. But he had nothing to replace them with, you know, because he's an anarchist, you know. Andrew says, I've been painting in the garden. Not nude, not been painting in the nude, have you? Be careful you put that paint stripper. Left Break says, there'd be long enough to get government pension. Harry says, I do the Twitters, I thought I recognised you. Andrew says, what do you think of Priti Patel? She seemed pretty. I like the fact that she doesn't take any shit, but I can't say I'm a fan. You know, the whole Rwanda thing. You know, but on other things, I find her quite an interesting character, because she seems like tough, and sometimes I think you need a tough guy. You know, she seems determined. But the whole Rwanda thing was just a nonsense. You can't afford to do that. It's an expensive exercise in moving the problem elsewhere, only for it to come back again. You know, it's boomerang politics, rather than, again, working with the French, getting these people traffickers arrested. You know, setting up a task force we should be throwing the money over there and working closely with the French. But you know, there we go. Harry says, there we go, close under £100. I was only joking. You shouldn't do that. Andrew says, I go over the Dartford Bridge. I know blue water. So do I, Andrew. But probably not from next October, because they're pricing the locks out of where we live. I mean, crikey, if it gets any closer, there's no point in us having a car. You know, because $12.50 a day. Are you insane? It's just ridiculous. Alex says, this is what happens when you prioritise priorities over politics. My dear Nan got swept up with Boris because she fell in for the fake smile and bushy hair. He is our fluffy-haired leader. Oh no, he's charismatic. And again, I think if he'd have had a good deputy, if he'd had a deputy leader who was like, you know, like Blair and Prescott, you know, people like that. You know, I know Prescott wasn't his deputy, it was well, he was his deputy, but he had Gordon Brown as well. There was like a triumvirate there. But you need somebody who's keeping an eye on things, and I don't think Boris delegates too well. And I think if he'd have had a like I say, a tough guy, you know, looking after things, because he's not good at details. That's the problem with him. He's not good at details. He likes making grand proclamations, and he's no good at the details, and that's why where we're at. And I just wish that we could just get rid of. Can we just get rid of politics? Can we just put it in room 101? Can we just get rid of politics and just have a, I don't know, just have some sort of monarch ruling us? You know, imagine if we had a king or a queen ruling us. They wouldn't let the gas and electricity prices. We'd have invaded somewhere and stolen the electricity from them. You know, we wouldn't have this problem. We wouldn't have any of these problems. But anyway, I shall slink out of here, for we have done enough damage today. 36 minutes. I seem very talky lately. I must be going through an up phase. Anyway, thank you for watching. It's been lovely. Hopefully you've enjoyed the videos. If you haven't, then I don't know, why don't you go off and make a fake channel and call it something like Darren Lock Clips Official and use my image and show me the error of my ways, eh? Why don't you do that? And with that, there's only one more thing left to say, and that is, that was the news, and you better drink it up. Oh yeah.